Alright, since I've been fairly inactive with actual content on my channel due to an abundance of co-ops that you can check out through my slideshow commentaries playlist that I'll link later, and I still have mostly co-ops in the works, which eats up a lot of time, today's com's gonna be pretty short. Today's video is on a weeb and his furry friend. Very fun. I'll give the basic gist of the context. In 2019, someone named Mystic Umbreon made a countdown of the top 10 worst Pokemon in Sword and Shield. Being a countdown on Pokemon, it was practically a death sentence. And then Melon's Heart VA and Night did a co-op on it. I didn't like it that much. Then Umbrus made a video on that, which, while I didn't like all that much either, had a boppin' intro card. In 2022, Night didn't like that and made a response that was not exactly received well. And then Toganium covered that video. His video can be summed up as fine overall, but I still had issues I'd like to bring up. No.
Our fault for not fully understanding what Mystic was saying. I suppose we interpreted him saying this isn't what I expected as this isn't what I wanted, and made the incorrect assumption that because Wooloo is a puffball, its evolution would have naturally followed suit.
Regardless, Melon still questioned Mystic's expectations when he straight up said what they were, and also, this point feels dangerously close to excuse territory, since instead of debunking points, you're explaining where your mindset came from in the original video. Sure, you had an explanation for believing what you believed, but that really doesn't justify anything though.
I don't know how exactly to get across the idea that I don't particularly like either of your points, but starting off with the furry, first off, you were actually correct when you said that he said it didn't come out the way he wanted, because, well, he literally said that.
This didn't come out the way I wanted it to.
Secondly, with your point, if the reason for you to come to the conclusion about Double being fluffy was because Wooloo was fluffy, why isn't that what Melon brought up?
I mean, it's a sheep. What would you expect it to look like?
She brought up the fact that it was a sheep when, if I can hit her point too, not every sheep is a fluff ball, an example of one that isn't being a Catadin sheep. Now as for your point, Toga, you'd be correct if Nye was trying to use this idea to excuse his original point. However, as shown by the start of his clip saying, our fault, he was definitely admitting he twisted Mystic's words just a little bit. I assume because he wasn't really debunking points, this is why he came to that conclusion, but explaining a flaw in your video and excusing it are two different things entirely. For example, if I explained that my video on CBR sucked because I jumped into it assuming I knew what I was talking about, so kinda just forgot to properly tackle the list at hand, I wouldn't be excusing the issues.
Dreadnought is a Pokemon I haven't really been super fond of since the day I laid my eyes on it. At this point in time, in the Pokemon franchise, we have way too many turtle Pokemon. Turtonator was last gen, then before that Caracosta, and then Torterra. I think it's time to stop with Turtlemons for a while.
I agree. We need to stop having all these Pokemon based on the same type of animal a long time ago. Birds, fish, rodents, bugs. We certainly didn't need so many just based on one species.
Your examples actually suck. Let's just ignore that every type of Pokemon you mentioned are Pokemon that appear in every gen. They're part of the series tradition, you nunts.
Plus, there are a lot of things you can do with rodents, birds, fish, and bugs.
And there are a lot of things you can do with turtles, like what we go over in our video on Mystic.
Torterra is based on the world tortoise. Caracosta is based on the soft-shelled sea turtles. Turtonator is a Matata turtle, and Dreadnought is an alligator snapper.
Oh, look at that. Concepts for a Pokemon based on turtles and tortoises.
But Umbrus didn't say that you can't do a lot with turtles. She was making it clear that her point was focusing on the examples.
But that doesn't do anything to Nye's point. What he was bringing up was that Umbrus said his comparison was bad because you can do a lot with these other species, which you can't with turtles, to which Nye then said you can do a lot with turtles. So to clarify that Umbrus was saying that these examples sucked doesn't do anything, because Nye was directly arguing against that. Anyway, I'm not covering anymore, both because I'm lazy and because the other points I could make are pretty nitpicky. So to end off with the final brief thoughts, you're good, so don't really feel bad about this video because it was kind of just okay at the end of the day, especially since I tend to like your usual output.